Hello again, Danny H here. Now we're going to look at where I went completely wrong in the 2025-26 Premier League predictions. In 20th spot were Wolves, who I predicted to finish 17th. I knew Wolves would have a bad season. They were just going to struggle. I knew they'd struggle again, but this season was just absolutely horrendous for them. Really, just totally went wrong for them. In 19th are the perennial yo-yo team, Burnley. Now, this is the only prediction I actually got correct. I had Burnley in 19th and they finished 19th. They just didn't adjust again. It seems to be a problem with Burnley. They seem to do really well in the Championship and really poorly in the Premier League. They just never seem to get going in the Premier League. And this season, it was more of the same, unfortunately. Be interesting to see where the bottom two finish next season, because both of them have absolutely dire records. And in 18th spot, the first major shock, West Ham. West Ham absolutely were horrendous this season. Absolutely awful season. They didn't get relegated until the last day. Really, really bad season. They've kept Nuno as manager. They really do need to. I mean, they will have the biggest budget in the Championship next season. Hopefully they'll get back up. They should do. They should be able to get back up. And the Millwall West Ham matches should sound quite tasty. Although again, like I said in the previous video, where my Championship predictions went wrong, I won't be going to East London on that day. I actually had West Ham up in 12th, which was a bit of a shocker, just mentioning that. So really, really went wrong there. In 17th spot, Spurs. Spurs I actually predicted to finish 9th. I thought they would greatly improve this season and start going towards where they normally are in the league, but never worked out for them at all. And I do fear for them a bit next season, unless they can really, really change things and bring some really good players in. But I think they went through a number of managers during the season as well, which really didn't help matters. Hopefully, the manager they've got now will start to basically push them back up the league for their sake. But they've an absolutely appalling season for them. In 16th, another shock was Nottingham Forest, who I actually had up in the giddy heights of 6th. That was nowhere near where they were. Absolutely horrendous prediction, that. Forest really, I think they were concentrating on Europe. They're focusing on European competition. They did really well there, but they did really, really badly in the in the league. The Europe form really wasn't the same as the league form, and they just really struggled. I think they stayed in the league until a few matches. Still, there's a few matches left, and they managed to secure survival. Not the way I predicted them at all. I thought they were going to have a far better season than that. In 15th spot, Crystal Palace. Crystal Palace weren't too far out. I actually had them up in 13th. Complete difference from their Premier League season. Like Nottingham Forest, they had an excellent European Europa League season, and unfortunately their Premier League form was just absolutely atrocious. Really, really well. Sorry, I started a bit there. Anyway, but yeah, no, Crystal Palace are they're a funny side. I mean, they do well some seasons and they just don't do well other seasons. But I think the Europa League, I think that's given them some cheer, which was really, really good. 14th was Leeds. I actually had Leeds in 18th. I thought Leeds would find the Premier League a bit hot, but not so. Leeds actually did really, really well. They actually survived quite comfortably as well. When you look at the end of the season, so not a bad season for them. Hopefully they can use this as a platform to move upwards. In 13th spot, Everton. Another one which was a little bit wrong, but not too bad, but Everton are a difficult team to predict. They often finish completely different to where you expect them to. I think the safest thing with Everton is they're usually around mid-table positions. They're never going to be towards the top of the league, but they never really are in danger of going down. So yeah, this season, they finished 13th. I actually had them in 16th. In 12th spot, Newcastle. Now this was a huge shock. This really was. I thought Newcastle really were going to fire on this season and really get themselves really, really further up the league, but it just didn't work out that way at all. I had Newcastle up in 5th. very, 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 very wide on the mark prediction there. Newcastle, it just didn't click for them this season. They just had a really, really poor season. I think question marks are starting to be about Eddie Howe now, the manager. Whether they should bring a new manager in. Be interesting to see what happens there during the summer, and how their multi-millionaire owners respond to that. 11th spot, Fulham. Fulham I actually had down in 14th. Again, like Everton, Fulham are a difficult team to predict in the Premier League. Really, really difficult. But they finished roughly where I thought they would be. I predicted 14th. They finished 11th. Not a bad season by their standards. They usually are around, again, like Everton, they usually are around mid-table. In 10th spot, another big shock, Chelsea. Chelsea, I had predicted to finish 4th. I thought Chelsea were really going to kick on this season, but unfortunately it just didn't work out. Again, they went through a number of managers, and there was just so much inconsistency about them this season. Just never really clicked together for them this season. And they just didn't. And again, they finished quite poorly compared to where they normally finish. In 9th spot was Brentford. Brentford, I think, had a really, really good season. It just really came together for them. I had Brentford down in 15th. I thought they might struggle a bit this season, but not so. They had a tremendous season. They're one of a few teams that they're in the top half that absolutely had phenomenal seasons. And the next team also had a phenomenal season, and had a really good season. And that was Brighton. I had Brighton in 11th. I thought Brighton might be around mid-table this time and struggle a bit, but not so. They always seem to do. They seem to do really well before, but unfortunately their managers always seem to get poached. Usually by Chelsea. And it's usually the team they always turn to. But Tottenham, but not Tottenham. Sorry, what am I doing? Looking at the wrong team. Brighton really are cracking on and moving forward now. Really, really good side. In 7th spot, this was a huge shock. Very big congratulations to them, Sunderland. They've actually managed to secure a European spot as well, which is really, really cool for them. I'm sure their fans will absolutely love every minute of that. I actually had Sunderland in 20th. Way wrong. Way wrong. But it's good to see actually that a team can come up from the Championship and really, really kick on, because it just proves that, you know, when teams are run well and if things go right for them, they can really have a good season. And Sunderland have proved that with Nobs on. They really have. They are a really, really, really good side. They were brilliant when I saw them play against Man City. They do look a good outfit, and I think, you know, I think they might have a good season next season as well. But obviously we'll have to wait and see who they sign. It's 6th spot, another really good season for a team that's really punching. This looks like they're punching above their weight. They're not really, because they do have mega rich owners, and that's AFC Bournemouth. Bournemouth, really another team that's had an absolute quality season. They really have, and and since they've come up to the Premier League, they really have been an absolute revelation. They really have. Absolutely fantastic side. I remember in the late 90s, a number of occasions, they nearly went out of business on numerous occasions, but didn't quite. But they managed to keep going, keep afloat, and they've just kicked on and really gone for it since then. Absolutely brilliant team. I mean, and for all smaller teams down there, this just shows what can be done, what can be achieved. In 5th spot was Liverpool. Now, this was a big shock, because I actually had Liverpool to be champions of the Premier League. Liverpool really, they just weren't the same team this season. They kept hold of Salah, but it just really wasn't a good season for them. They just looked absolutely terrible at times, actually. Really, really bad season for them. Really should have done a whole lot better. In 4th spot, Aston Villa. Aston Villa, another team I got a little bit wrong, because I actually had them down in 7th. I thought Villa would be there or thereabouts, but they've really gone for it this season. They've another team that's won in Europe, so congratulations to them. Absolutely brilliant season, absolutely fantastic, and really showing what the English Premier League is all about now. In 3rd spot, Man United. Man United had a really terrible season the season before, but I thought they would improve this season, but they improved beyond recognition. They really have had a quality season. I had Man United down in 8th. Which was a big improvement on where they were the previous season. They were just absolutely awful the previous season, but this season they've really moved forward. They finished up in 3rd, and you know, I mean, they're in the Champions League next season, so you know they really are starting to go for where they are used to being. In second spot, another shock, and that was Man City. I actually had Man City in third. I thought Man City might tail off a bit this season, but nope. They've still got their millions. They've still got their players. Interesting to see what sort of penalty is levied upon them. Because of the 115, I think 115 breaches of Premier League rules that they've had. Be interesting to see what happens there. Not quite sure what's going to happen yet, but you know, it'll probably be a massive fine or something, or maybe a points deduction. That could really be key to where they finish next season. And first top of the Premier League was Arsenal. So congratulations to them. Absolutely brilliant season. It just all clicked into place, all fell into place. Normally Arsenal do really well to start with, and they normally they fizzle out towards the end of the season, but nope, absolutely brilliant. They kept going, they kept on. They did lose a bit of form towards the end of the season, but it didn't knock them out of their stride completely this time. They just rallied, went through it. They've got a Champions League final coming up against Paris Saint-Germain, so hopefully they'll win that. But yeah, absolutely brilliant season for Arsenal, absolutely quality, and fully deserve the title. Anyway, thank you very much. Hopefully my predictions for Premier League will be far better next season.